hit your head pretty hard.
Wait, that's me. That's me. Oh my God, you see this?
Yes?
I'm beautiful!
I like Amy Schumer. She stars in the new comedy I Feel Pretty, hitting theaters on the weekend. Plays a woman who is smart, funny, but insecure, living in New York, whose world changes after a nasty fall. Let's bring in Richard Crouse, film critic and host of Pop Life, to talk about that. I like her.
I like
she's
Amy
great.
Schumer,
she's
too.
funny.
Yep.
But this has been a movie that has brought up a bit of flack for her.
It has. I mean, almost anything that comes out of her mouth becomes controversial for some reason, whether it's in her stand-up or in one of her films, and this movie is no different. So the idea behind it, and you just gave a summary here, is that she is a average New York person working hard. She works for a cosmetic company, but she doesn't work at the fancy Fifth Avenue office. She works downtown in IT. She aspires to work where all the glamorous people work, but she feels insecure about herself, about her body, about the way she looks, doesn't think she's funny enough, all that stuff. Then one day, in a plot twist from the Flintstones or Gilligan's Island, she gets a bonk on the head, and all of a sudden, she looks in the mirror and she sees her perfect self.
Got it.
She has not changed one iota, except there's a lump on her head, and she feels good about herself. And for the next hour of the film, she lives that life that she's always wanted to live, self-confident, a go-getter. She can do it all. And then comes the inevitable second bonk on the head, which sends her back into reality. And what people are complaining about with this movie is that you have someone who is a movie star, who is acceptable in every way, and can only feel good about herself by being brain damaged. That's essentially what people are saying here. And, I think that take is a little extreme for this movie, but I will tell you that I think that the idea of this is overly kind of simplistic. It's a feel good about yourself kind of movie. It's well-intentioned, but I think that middle hour when she feels really good about herself sends some kind of odd messages.
Okay.
And so for me, it was a 2 out of 5 star movie. It's not funny enough. It's not Trainwreck, her first film, which I thought was really charming and funny and smart and all those sort of things. It is not that.
Okay, let's get to Super Troopers, because this has sort of an interesting idea to it.
Yep.
It's about a small Quebec town, I guess, that is going to now be part of the U.S.
Well, when the border was drawn, apparently, between Vermont and Quebec, there was a little mistake made, and this town should actually have belonged to the United States. So you have the Super Troopers. We met them first in Super Troopers, the first movie, 17 years ago.
Wow.
Almost 2 decades ago. And they were 5 Vermont state troopers who got busted down to be regular cops and then kicked off the force. They are brought back together and sent to this small town to oversee the transition from Canadian to American. And that means that they're up against the Mounties. There's a small town mayor played by Rob Lowe. Lots of things happen here. This is essentially a series of skits kind of woven together to create what little story there really is here. And I do not think that there is any coincidence that this is being released on 420, the international celebration of cannabis, because I have a feeling those who are celebrating that today will probably enjoy this movie more than those who are not celebrating it today.
Got it. Okay.
So again, another low-rated one, 1.5.
We'll say a bit of a bum for that one. All right, let's get to mobile homes, because this is... It sounds like it could be a charming movie.
Oh, there's nothing charming about this.
But there's nothing charming about it.
Yeah, this is Imogen Poots, who is an English actress who I think is fantastic. She is a really, really interesting actor who hasn't quite found the groove yet, I don't think, in terms of that film that's going to make her a breakout star. It will happen, though, I think, for her. But Mobile Homes is the story of a mom on the road with a young son. She has a bad news boyfriend that seems to dog her all the way along. She finally gets rid of him and finds peace. She finds a sense of community. She finds a place that she wants to be when she lands in a mobile home park. As she's rebuilding her life, the bad news boyfriend shows up and they start making bad decisions all over again. And for my money, this movie looks fantastic. I think Imogen Poots is a star eventually. not maybe right at this second, but eventually she will be. But it is a movie that revels in its own misery to such an extent that I found it kind of an unpleasant watch. So 2 out of 5.
Okay, let's get to the last one here, which is Eye on Juliet. Also an interesting concept. All of these were sort of interesting concepts at the base about a drone operator, and there's your drone, who I guess sees somebody through his lens that he falls for.
He does. So he's in Detroit, recently broken up with his girlfriend. He is a hopeless romantic. He's working his drone. The drone is in North Africa. It's the security for a pipeline. And he sees a young woman there. And the young woman is clandestinely meeting her boyfriend there. The parents do not approve. And he becomes interested in their story. And via the drone and some translation software, he talks to this woman and decides that he's going to help her get out of the country with the boyfriend so they can go to Paris and get married.
Wow.
Then there's twists and turns all the way along. And again, you know, I don't want to be cynical about a movie like this because it's about true love. It's about, you know, well-intentioned good things. But the drone aspect doesn't work all that well. It kind of looks like a cross between a spider and that little robot from the Short Circuit movies. And I found it hard to take seriously as they were having, you know, kind of heartfult conversations. So I gave this one 2 out of 5 as well.
Wow, okay, so not a blockbuster weekend.
It is not a blockbuster weekend at the movies, but, you know, it's going to be a beautiful weekend outside. So.
Richard Crouse, thanks for stopping in. We'll talk to you soon. And Pop Life with Richard Crouse will air Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and again Sunday afternoon, 2:30 Eastern Time.